today is the day. So I'm going to be honest, I've been avoiding moving Diego in. I've been delaying it. I don't want him to move out my room. But equally, I want him to move into here because it's massive. But what I've been waiting for is his thermometer to arrive. So once that arrives, I'm going to install that. I do also have another thermometer in here that will measure the humidity and sort of the ambient temperature. And of course I have my laser thermometer, but I like to have one on the hot end at all time that I can visually see so I know the heating is working correctly. The next thing I need to do is install his UV. So I'm using the Pro T5 Shade Dweller fitting. Now when I eventually upgrade all the geckos, I can actually link all of these UVs together. I can also link all the LEDs together, and once they're on a timer, you know, they can just come on all at the same time, and then I'm down to just 2 plugs, one for all the LEDs, one for all the UVs. Oh, and then everyone has a heater each. So I wanted to show you what it would look like with the LED off and just the UV on, because they're not going to be on at the same time. I'm going to pretty much have the UV on 2 hours in the morning, then throughout the day it's LED, then 2 hours in the evening the UV will come back on. And as you can see, it's a nice shaded area. This is going to be sort of the maximum area of light. It's also over the same side as the heater because obviously together they work as the sun. But with this ruler, it's a 30cm ruler, we can see from the screen down, this is sort of the maximum distance we can have. The UV index beyond this point is probably like 0, but this around here will be perfect for Diego. So as you can see, you may add in a UV light, but the gecko isn't exposed in terms of it can't move away. If he wanted to move away, he can. There's lots of areas that he's not going to get exposed to the UV, so lots of different options. Next though, I do have to put it on a timer. The LED's already on one, so let's quickly set the timer for the UV. Later. So I'm now just going to spray it down the tank because I did add that extra dirt about 2 days ago and it is quite drying. Now, as I've said previously, this tank dries out quite quickly because obviously it's designed for arid species. If you are wondering where this is from, the rocks, everything like that, I'll leave links below. It's from Custom Reptile Habitats, but it requires a bit of spraying, but this substrate does anyway, and it doesn't affect humidity really at all for a leopard gecko, which is great. I'm also going to fill up his water bowl. This is a nice rocky one here. And I'm probably not going to add him in until all the lights have gone off. So I'm going to have a test run where I see the LED comes on, goes off, the UV comes on, goes off, and when it's dark, I'm going to add Diego in. Hi, Diego. So it's 6:15 and all the lights downstairs have gone off. Diego has spent the whole day up here, heating himself up, getting himself ready. I wanted to wait till the lights are gone off because that way, you know, he only has to get used to the deep heat projector. He's never had an LED or a deep heat projector or a tank this size. So there's a lot to get used to, and I thought one step at a time. And also, when it's nice and dark, he can kind of settle in a bit more. As you can see though, it is still a little bit light now, but nevertheless, we'll move him in and see how he goes. So it's day 2 and Diego didn't come out much throughout the day. He was actually hiding down in this rock hide down here, and I managed to get a little bit of footage of him down there. But when the UV came on this afternoon between 4 and 6, he actually did lay out in it, which is cool to see. And since that's gone off, he has just been hanging out here. It's about 8:20 in the evening now, but he's still quite wary of me. He's still wary of his new enclosure. I thought I'd bring in some cork from his old tank because it smells like him, so it might help him settle in even more. So now that's all in, we don't actually know where he's gone to the toilet. I'm hoping it's not in there because, you know, we really have to hope springtails do their job. But I can't see anything yet. So Diego's been hiding all day and he's finally come out. And this sort of area over here seems to be the place he likes because he can quickly run and hide if he wants to. But I thought I would tempt him out with some waxworms as it is a feeding day. We don't know if he will eat, but I'm going to leave one just here. There you go. Now I have to apologise for the lighting in this room. The light is actually very dull and for some reason the curtains and the floor are pink. So not great for the white balance. So it's day 4 and I haven't seen him at all today, so I think he's hiding even with his UV light on now. He is nowhere to be seen. So Diego ended up coming out to expose himself to the UV and I managed to capture it on my camera that's on him. Now he gets all nice and settled, but about 30 seconds later I put my head round the corner to check if he's out yet. He just jumps off of the side of the rock. So of course I can't get to him, so I just like leave him. And then this evening I went to check on him and I thought, you know what, let's try to see if I can handle him. Once again, just runs off. So it's being quite tricky at the moment because I can't just get him out and handle him like usual. He is very skittish. In the evening I finally got to handle Diego and I managed to capture it on the night vision camera. I don't always have my camera out and luckily we have that camera there. So it was really cool to actually have him out and I had him out for a bit just so he knows I'm still here. This is still his normal home, just where he actually lives is a little different. So I moved the night vision camera so we could see a little more of Diego's tank, as in a lot of these clips I've had to cut them short because he does go out of frame, but it's become very apparent that at night he's exploring the entirety of his tank. And sometimes that can be for 20 or 40 minutes straight. These clips need to be cut down a lot and sped up. But yeah, he's definitely getting the use out of his entire tank. So day 5 was pretty quiet. Diego was in hiding pretty much all day. The first time I saw him was 20 past 7 in the evening. And I didn't disturb him, I just popped my head around the corner and saw him. Then about 20 to 10, I went in and I opened the door and I didn't pick him up. I just spoke to him. I want him to know that he doesn't have to run every time. I'm not going to pick him up every time. So I just opened the door, spoke to him for a bit and shut it again. And I think this is important to build up that trust so they don't feel like they have to run every time. Also because I will have to feed him again soon and I don't want him running off. So it's day 6 and I haven't been able to find where Diego's going to the loo, and sometimes when they're in a new environment they might hold on to it, they might not necessarily go to the toilet, they might not feel completely secure. So I thought I'd do an experiment where I'll put down some toilet roll. I don't know where to put it. I'll put it somewhere in here. It looks a bit ugly, but he's used to going to the toilet on this toilet roll and this is from his old tank. Obviously it's clean, but maybe he'll smell it and be like, oh, this is where I go to the toilet. So we'll check back on that. But as usual, he is in hiding and he probably won't come out till later in the day. It's time to feed Diego and I'm going to give him mealworms. But I thought I'd also put it in this dish. So this dish came with the kit. If you don't know what kit I'm using, I'll link it below. But basically I was going to tongue feed him for a bit and then leave some worms in here and see if we capture anything during the night, whether he actually uses the dish, because my geckos don't naturally feed out of dishes. They don't kind of recognise that there's food there, but maybe he will during the night. So he's definitely got confident enough to stay out whilst I'm here, and he's pretty alert when it comes to his food, which is great to see. he will probably eat all these mealworms if I handed them to him, but I am going to try out this dish. So it's day 7, and as you saw, Diego did actually find his bowl. However, it doesn't look... I can't remember how many I put in. I don't think he ate many, but I will remove them from that dish. He also didn't go to the loo on the paper towel, but that's fine. Since it's day 7, I thought I'd sort of sum up what we've witnessed this week and whether it's worth upgrading your gecko to a bigger tank. So first of all, I think if you are going to go for a bigger tank, something as big as this, you will probably want a deep heat projector. I think something like a small heat mat, the gecko just wouldn't really get as much energy as it does from the projector, and therefore it may stay on the heat mat for a lot longer and explore a lot less. Now, one thing that is apparent in the first week of this upgrade is Diego has been hiding a lot. Now, I kind of expected that. He's in a new room, in a new tank with far more space, with a new heating system, live plants and an LED throughout the day. There's a lot to get used to, but I think over time he will become more comfortable and we'll be seeing him laying out under his heater a lot more during the day. I've also observed that every night between about 4 and 5 AM he explores his whole tank. Now, the footage I've been showing you in total can be like around 20 to 40 minutes at a time, and I've had to speed it up so much that it fits into 15 to 20 second clips. So there's probably a lot we're missing out on, and you're not really seeing quite as much as how long he is out and exploring his tank, but it does go to show that he is using all of the space. Now, I think for most people, if you don't have a night vision camera, you definitely think that your gecko isn't really using all that extra space you're giving it. I know when I said I was going to upgrade to this 80-gallon tank, everyone's like, well, not everyone, but a few people had said, you know, I did this and my gecko didn't even use it, so I just put it back in a smaller tank. But it goes to show that they do use the space. It just might be when you're not around. But as I said, hopefully in time he'll feel more confident that he will use that space whilst I'm around as well. Now, I have also noticed that in this week his confidence has grown a bit. He doesn't automatically bolt off of the rocks when I walk in the room anymore. The first few days, you know, you'd barely see him out, only in the night vision camera when nobody is around, but I have now found that I can go into the room that the tank's in and he doesn't always run away. And I think it's good practice to do this. So say you've got a gecko who's quite skittish and every time you walk in a room it runs off, it might think that you're going to approach its tank every time. So go about your day as usual and your gecko will sort of get used to seeing you. You can also go over to the tank, as I've done, and open the door and talk to the gecko, or just so they know that that door opening doesn't automatically mean someone's going to go in there and grab them. So once again, you're just building up that trust. But I would also say that if you're able to, try to get a few handling in there. You know, I've done it, I think I managed to handle him 3 times this week, but I didn't want to overdo it as he is still settling into this new house, but I think it's good practice to do so. Now, I may do an update in a few months' time just to show you how he's getting on and how the tank has grown or even changed. I know I might want to add in a few succulents in the future, but I hope this video has shown what you can expect if you do a similar thing. Even if it's a little upgrade, I've even heard people go from using paper towel to a loose substrate and they've noticed a difference in their gecko's behaviour. I think the thing is you just got to be patient with them. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. If you haven't already, please subscribe. But thank you for watching, guys, and goodbye.